too.
Excellent. Good to hear from you guys. So while we haven't got a screen, I'm just trying to grab Cassandra. Is there anything we can bring up and discuss without the screen at the moment? How about the open collective issue? We got a bit stuck on that, I think, somewhere. I think maybe, was it me? Was I supposed to have done something and I've forgotten?
Well, I don't think it's only you, because I couldn't participate in the last meeting.
Okay, but was there something that we arranged that we were supposed to get done before then? I think it was the fiscal host. I'm just looking at the Tiger board, and it was talking about...
We haven't, as far as I know, we haven't come to a firm decision on where it's going to be hosted, but I did listen again to the previous meeting, and it does seem to be a clear preference for, well, not USA anyway. I mean, so Europe, a Europe-based host.
Right. And then it was just about getting the account, but did we need to get SaltStack to decide that? Because that's what I've got written here, that we need to maybe ask them what's next.
Yeah, well, you did say that you were going to prepare an email for, some of the higher ups in SaltStack.
Yeah, we had a list of names.
Yeah, Tom, Mo, and a couple of other people.
Yeah. So what I could do, I could reach out to maybe one of them, at least one of them, and just ask them just what they think from their side, because I haven't spoken to one of them directly. And I'm just, again, carrying the conversation while I'm doing this. The map Ginger verification, myself and Daniel, we've sort of gone with the text version in the end rather than the YAML version. I don't know if you saw our discussion about that and why we selected text in the end. Did you any particular? Everyone happy with the fact that we're still using text? That we're okay? We're sticking with that instead of the YAML.
I mean, I think it's a compromise, but I do realise there was a drawback with the YAML comparison. I'm not sure how quickly we could get a kind of a feature done on that.
Daniel did put that issue through to Inspec. Was there any responses to that, Daniel?
Not yet.
Not even an initial response. So it could.
No.
So it could take some time, couldn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Right. Welcome. Right. Where are we now? So, like we were saying, these are the 3 tasks that we did set up from 2 meetings back. And so in the meantime, I'll try and get in touch with one of the main guys and find out what they need from us. And we can then get on with this process and try to, get this up and running. Was there anything from your side, David, that needed to be done, or?
No, not really. I'm just waiting for a bit of a confirmation. Yeah.
Okay. So let me try to get that. That'll be one of the things. Now, there was this documentation that Daniel's provided. I don't know if I linked it here. I think I did. It's this OpenSSH one, right? Is that right, Daniel?
Yes, I updated the Tiger task.
Your volume's a little bit low now. I don't know if you got reset. I can't hear you very well.
Yeah. It's better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So I updated the Tiger task to add the OpenSSH pull request where I did the documentation on MapGinger.
Okay, this is great. I'm happy to review this in time, but I think it'd be really helpful if, because myself, I've been playing around with it, maybe I'll make some assumptions that things look clear to me, and maybe it's better if someone who's not as familiar with it can have a look as well. Could either David or Javier, would you be able to just have a read through this as well and give any feedback from your side?
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Yeah, that'd be helpful, because then it just makes it a bit more... Javier, sorry?
Yeah, I can give it a read too.
Yeah, it'd be really helpful because I think, again, getting some fresh opinions on it rather than myself and Daniel just encouraging each other to move forward and not really thinking about how this comes across in the documentation. It'll be really useful. But yeah, thanks for doing this, Daniel, because this could be really, really helpful, because it's very powerful, like we know, but it's not going to be any use if people don't know how to use it. Does this contain remember the new style that you were talking about, the one with the starting with an abbreviation at the beginning?
No.
I don't.
No. This one is a V4 map Jinja documentation.
Okay, so that's like version 5, isn't it?
Yes. There is a few modification between both. It's just the cut and paste of the map Jinja sources pillar. That's the only difference between the two.
So it's this part here? This part here, isn't it?
Oh, your screen is frozen for me.
Oh, is it?
I don't see your screen anymore.
We good?
Yeah.
Hopefully. Wow. Okay, so the pre-commit I was asking, you were saying that, or you're suggesting that if we have the YAML lint, or
Yeah.
we point it to the actual YAML lint configuration file, that it will check all the files each time? Oh, admit. Right, there you
go. Well, what I was saying is that built into pre-commit is it filters the files itself.
Yes.
So if a file hasn't been changed in a commit, it doesn't run the checks.
Hello.
But for that to work, pre-commit needs to know which files are relevant or not. And if we're messing around with excludes, we need to do that in the pre-commit config file rather than the YAML lint config file. Now, I understand why that was done before, because that's how it was originally set up. But what I would be proposing is that we move the excludes from YAML lint into the pre-commit config file.
Okay, and as in completely move them, or actually just have them duplicated?
Well, I mean, you could replicate them if you wanted, but
I'm surprised. I thought pre-commit would have had something built in to actually, take because all of these types of the YAML lints and the other linting and stuff will have their own configuration files. I thought they would have just taken advantage of that and piggyback off that.
Yeah, but they do. I mean, the YAML lint that you run does read the YAML lint configuration, but I'm talking about like an intrinsic feature of pre-commit,
right?
Which is just to do with filtering of the files.
Yes.
And so if we're putting excludes into YAML lint itself, right? Oh, well, don't YAML lint this and that. So then pre-commit needs to know about that somehow. And I mean, you can't expect pre-commit to read every linter's configuration file and understand it, because it's already got those
built into itself
features built into it. So this really is just a question that we're moving from one model to another. And I mean, yeah, maybe I should have been more aware of this when I was building the thing.
No,
but yeah, it's kind of an oversight.
No, not at all. It's not that, because like you said, ultimately we'll probably end up moving from one side completely to the other.
That would be the goal, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really going to matter in the end. I'm just coming from my angle, because the process of actually making sure it works on both sides identically. Because I haven't looked at it, and timing wise, obviously there's so many things that need to be done at an organizational level, and that just take time.
Yeah, I mean, I can look at that. So I wasn't aware of it before, but I can look at it.
Yeah, but otherwise, what I'm proposing, the main thing I'm saying is, if we still, in the meantime, just use these files as is, it'll at least provide something. Javier, do you remember the exact issue you faced? Was it in one of the? I can't remember the exact specific issue it was that you were saying you had with the.
Correctly, the issue was with YAML lint, that it was not that this was trying to link a couple of files that had Jinja on them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying makes sense.
And that was because YAML was trying to use another file, so when I ran it locally, it went okay, and then pre-commit failed there. But as you say, that the difference is that the pre-commit uses a file on its own, or a config on its own. So
Okay, because what I was thinking is, as I try to start pushing these out, I'll just push them with this default configuration, and we'll have to fix the teething issues one by one. I'm just thinking about the propagation of it and the time I'm going to need to spend to make sure I get it done properly, which at the moment I don't have much of. So
yeah, I mean, I can help with that.
okay, but otherwise, as it is, we can pretty much use it again and again throughout the formulas, and that should really be it. Okay, so
Well, yeah, as long as they don't have their own excludes.
well, they do. Quite a few do. That's the problem.
Yeah, this, okay, let's look at this. Let me take a look at this, because I wasn't aware of it before, or I wasn't fully aware that so many formulas were excluding their own files.
For myself, the hope was to remove, to keep YAML files as YAML as possible without having the Ginger in there, and that's why I quite like the new map Ginger as well, because what it does is it separates everything into its own little blocks, and you don't need to resort to as much YAML. A lot of times the YAML is being used because if this file is being processed by macOS, then we need to need to do something separately. Whereas if the macOS YAML file is separate in the first place, that won't really occur. That merging won't take place. But just to show you what to search for, I'm just trying to, anywhere where there's YAML in here, you'll see there are extra sort of ignores that are being added in there. That's not a very nice one to follow, but let's go a bit further. So where am I?
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
So for example, here you can see, OS family map, and again, OS family map seems to be a common one, but you can see the sort of files that are additional that are being done. And as you work your way through the file, you'll see there's quite a few. It's not that many, but it does happen. I mean, it's normally the OS family map, as you can see, as I'm going down this list.
I think that, for example, one common case is that under test, the salt files, both pillars and states, both could have some Ginger on them. So probably all under test -salt asterisk should be ignored.
No, that's done by, I think I've got that one done by default anyway. So that's not the additional ones. I think those are done by this anyway, right? There you go.
What I noticed is that usually, for example, check out line 44, you exclude states, but not pillars. So sometimes you find Ginger in both of them.
Yeah.
Depending on the case. So in that case, we should ignore both.
Yeah, what I'm saying here is that matches, I believe, the same settings as the default YAML lint file that we have, which I think is the same as the template formula, if I'm correct. So that would work in most cases. The cases where it wouldn't work are the ones that are being shown here in this particular file, where there's an additional ignore, and those are the ones that will get caught out by YAML lint, by pre-commit. It's just these ones. I mean, I think we should just move forward with it and deal with them on a case-by-case basis. We don't want to get too caught up in this. Did it block the commit, by the way, Javier? When you were trying to commit, was it actually blocking the commit?
No, actually, I edited the pre-commit lint file to suit the formula, and that just worked.
And that just worked. Okay.
It was not a big deal, but just that the point is that it didn't work as it was, but that was, as you said.
So it was actually blocking the commit until you made the change to changes to the configuration file. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just thinking, for an end user who's not used to it, may not know what to do.
Yeah, let me have a look at this, Imran, because all the information is there. We just need to do this extra step of getting the configuration correct. So like I said, I mean, I wasn't fully aware of this when I was working on it. So
Yeah.
if we're going to do it, let's do it properly.
Yeah, like you said, it's just the regex at the end of the day that if we can do it for the YAML lint file, it'll be easy to do for the pre-commit. I just know that time-wise at the moment, just
Yeah,
finalizing this is just taking
let me
time.
have a look. Let me have a look at it.
No problem, no problem. So we've got that there. Was there, Daniel? Was there something we needed to any particular? Oh, there was that list, wasn't there, in the template formula? Just 1 second. Grab some knowledge from the guys who are here. So we implemented it into the template formula. Daniel put the PR through for this map data where we're verifying it. And at the bottom of that, we got it merged, and I sort of listed the issues we've still got up in the air that we have to make a sort of final decision as we go through. So one of them was the text-based versus YAML-based. And for the time being, until InSpec is improved in that respect, we're going to stick with the text-based because at a human level, the diff is the most important thing. We don't want to make things difficult. So we're going to stick with text-based for now, and we'll deal with Windows as a separate case. Daniel has suggested below how we can cover Windows with the state file instead. I haven't had a chance to actually test this. Daniel, have you actually used this and everything's working from InSpec?
Yes. Yes, I tested it and it's working fine. And you can see below that you have proper outputs.
Okay.
And
I just didn't see the InSpec here. Did you actually?
No, the InSpec. No, I didn't.
Oh, that's where I tripped up. See, when I was trying some of these ideas, for whatever reason, when I was actually running it through InSpec, it was still not dealing with the line endings properly, which is why I had to use the gsub in InSpec instead, and that worked. That was the only thing. This one will probably work. I just haven't had a time to fiddle with it. But either way, we can. Yeah.
I will make you try because I have a computer, Windows computer at the end, so I can make the test soon.
Okay. If you can't anyway, I can do it because I've been implementing this for the SART formula, which also has confirmed that, the question last time was, will this work for multiple suites? So if you take the SALT formula, for example, you'll see, except I'm not going to get it like that. I have to go to it because I don't have my normal account here. You'll see the SALT formula has a lot of suites, and it also has Windows. And I've done, quite a bit of testing, and it's not here at the moment, but I'm just showing you that, the suites we're running. Where is it again? Kitchen. I can't see. There we are. So it has the other files in there as well for Windows, and also the suites itself, and it's working across all the various suites, which is nice to see. So I've confirmed that it works on Windows, confirmed that. And so if we can finalize the way we want to do this bit here for Windows, whether we do it from inside InSpec or whether we want to do it using an addition to the state file.
Actually, we will need to do something for Windows more because there is no /tmp on Windows.
It's funny. It worked without me having to do that. But couldn't we simply, this state file here, couldn't we simply add create directories? This state here, map data.
Yes.
It'd just be a single line, and that should cover that. Yeah. All right. So that's that one part there. What was this problem here? Set up map data. Oh, I'd have to bring the diff for this. The diff I don't have available. We'll do that later because I don't want to get too caught up into that. Question for the other two, Daniel, David, and Javier. We have here this section here where we're using a replacement. Where's the rest of the code? Over here. This is used when certain formulas, they actually pick up the name of the host name from the Docker instance, for example. And obviously it changes each time you run Travis, for example, it will have a different host name. So there's a workaround that Daniel's placed here using the library to pull out the host name and then to replace it. And the replacement is done down here. Mm-hmm. From my angle, I'm not particularly worried about this. I think at a general level, this won't be needed in most formulas. So I'm suggesting to remove it. Daniel's saying it's a good example to keep there for other people to be able to see, which I'm fine with as well. But just wanted to get your opinion whether whether we're happy with just keeping it in there, or is it just an additional distraction in a way that might, for contributors, they may look at this and not understand what's going on exactly. If you know my, if we can look at the file.
Yeah, to be honest, I had to deal with hostnaming a couple of times, and if I recall correctly, you can just set the name in kitchen. You just can say hostname something in kitchen, and that will be used. So I never had issues on that way. I try to recall where did I did that. Give me a minute. I will see if I find an example.
So, Daniel, was this mainly from a CI perspective, rather than obviously at the end user on their own systems won't have this problem, or will they?
Oh, sorry, I didn't get the question.
My question was, this issue here, is it primarily just from the angle of, say Travis, or does this happen locally as well? It should happen locally as well, isn't it?
Yes. Actually, the OpenSSH formula, it was used in the OpenSSH formula because the formula set the banner with the host name.
Yeah.
And we needed to, the Mapjinja had the host name in it, and we needed to replace it. And it's you have the issue when you are using Kitchen, but you have the issue when you apply the SSH formula on any virtual machine or physical machine.
Yeah.
If you apply it like this, you have the issue.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem specific to CIs, to Travis.
Yeah. So what I'm asking the other guys, I'm actually fine either way, yeah? So I'm not bothered. I'm just, because what I've found is in various conversations we've had over time, I've found that there's been this thing about keeping things as simple as possible because they already look quite complicated to people. So,
well, yeah. I guess it depends, really how many times would this be used?
Yeah.
If we're talking like one formula out of 150 or whatever, then
yeah. Sorry, Imran.
I
pasted the Kitchen example where I'm using host names.
Yeah. Oh, you've pasted.
I pasted it in the
Zoom.
formulas. Yeah. No, sorry. That would be a good idea.
I'm not. I can't normally.
There. Yeah.
Okay, so let me grab that.
So if you check, for example, line 50, line.
Yeah, I should.
For hostname.
This is useless. I can't grab the. Let's try it like this. Okay, I'll get it on everyone's screen. This is for everyone now, so we can see it. So you're saying line 50.
Yeah, 50 and 111. See, in that case, I need to set the host name for.
Oh right, okay.
For the testings, so I just set it there, and I know what I have to use.
Daniel, have you?
Yeah.
So now, how would this work from the OpenSSH formula? If we set it there, then it should work. I'm expecting.
I guess it would. Docker sets the host name to that name.
Yeah.
So in my case, for example, I'm checking that different configurations are there in place with the proper name and the host name.
Interesting.
What needs to be done.
Yeah, interesting. I can see the benefit of this. How do you feel about this, Daniel? How about we come to this method instead?
Yeah, why not? I don't have a really good view of the impact on the kitchen and how it's.
Yeah, well, what should really happen is we'll be able to verify directly by the name we set here in the driver. so in Kitchen. So it won't always be pulling out a separate host name. It won't be generating a random host name.
Okay, so the host name is fixed in the Docker container.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think I like this because again,
if you ask me, setting it in Kitchen, I mean, I think that there are little moments that you need to verify the host name or use the host name, right? Or at least exactly as it is. So I think that when you need to do that, it's better that you can specify one and use that as an example.
Yeah.
While in the other case, we'll check that the host name that Docker or background or whatever gives the virtual machine matches the one being used in the configuration. That's another generic case where it doesn't matter the name, you just want it to be used in the
but it's much more complicated because it's a grain ID.
So what's more complicated? Sorry.
No. The grain ID is seeded with the host name, right?
I think it just replicates the host name when it's in Kitchen.
Yeah.
I believe it's the host name. Is that the case, Javier?
I don't remember if it matched
yeah.
I think it does, but I don't remember. I don't use the grain ID.
How about we do this? How about we? I think it's always good to keep that example anyway, and maybe leave the OpenSSH formula as is. We can just test it anyway. Test the idea of using Kitchen as well, just so we're clear that we have that option available. Because ultimately, and I'm not speaking about your library. I love your library, Daniel. I'm just saying this is still a hack, isn't it, from our side, where we're hacking and modifying the file to make it match what we want to do. But if we have the actual a solution which is correct, if you like, which sounds more like what this is, using the hostname properly in Docker, then I feel like that's the way we should be going.
Okay, I'm doing a test right now.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So I think that's a good issue. But in the actual template formula itself, I'm suggesting we can remove this section here just to make it that little bit simpler, because this file is actually then replicated across every suite as well. So I think the simpler we keep it, just the easier for everybody when they're dealing with it, rather than have some with it and some without it. Yeah. This is an interesting one. I'd love to hear what the actual official answer is. And this is actually, I've learned a lot of this inspect stuff from you guys. So whoever knows this I'd be really grateful. What's the actual take on where these variables should be defined? Like I asked the question to Daniel, should we be scoping them in any way? Like when you have multiple controls in one file, I found myself, and I took this from examples I saw that other people had put in, is actually putting it within the control itself. So you're not almost, in a way how you normally program, you wouldn't put things in the module level or global level, you'd keep them in each block. What's the right thing to do here? Because I can't find any references in it either. I mean, Daniel looked, and myself, I looked as well. And I don't see what inspec, suggests you should be doing.
Well, I mean, the first thing is...
In there. Yeah, go on.
This is a domain-specific language, so it's not programming per se, as we would normally understand it.
Of course.
And this is just, I mean, the way I have done it is I've kept these kind of variable assignments outside of the control. Okay. To me, that looks cleaner.
Okay.
It's like you've got the top of the file, and you're setting all of your parameters, let's call them, and then your control is using those parameters. I mean, it's not like we're using functions across different files and things like that. But the other thing is there's a concept called inputs.
Yeah, I'd really love to see some example. Yeah.
The correct way of doing it. The correct way would be to provide inputs.
So how would this
which are basically kind of passing a parameter into the control.
Right. So
there is an issue with this. And you can get your inputs from the kitchen.yaml. You set them.
Okay, so how would you provide something like this?
But yeah, this is, I mean, inputs are still, as far as I can tell, a bit of a work in progress. And so inputs have types, and they're very simple at the moment, like string, integer, that kind of thing. So anything with a map, or anything with a, if the platform is this, then this, it isn't really going to work with inputs at the moment. I mean, so I can only say my personal preference would be kind of setting these parameter type things outside of the control.
All at the top.
Well, yeah, this is just it looks cleaner to me.
Okay.
And it's like I say, it's not as if we're, programming and using these functions all over our programs or whatever.
Javier, any particular ideas or thoughts about this?
No, actually, I kind of agree. I tend to do the same. Also, I try to keep I consider the test file as a whole, so I try to keep things dry.
This is a terrible example I'm going to give you. Okay, I'm not saying this is what we should be doing at all. Yeah, but I'm just trying to pull an example for the discussion. So please don't say it is terrible. I know it is. But so, for example, here where I found, and I'm not actually going to argue this. I'm happy with putting everything at the top. So I'd like to just make that as a standard. That's what I'm actually trying to get to. Where I had variables that are used across multiple controls, I've got them at the top. This part is ugly, forget that. But within each control itself, if it had its own specifics, then putting it inside the control, it just kind of kept it a bit closer together from when I was working with the file. So I didn't have to keep jumping around. I could see, okay, this is specific to this particular control. But if that doesn't matter, and we just chuck it at the top, that's fine by me as well. I've got no problem. All right, they've running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute time limit. Thank you. GIF, do you see that GIF from Zoom come up on my screen, yeah?
Well, it was blanked out. But...
Okay, it said that they no longer have the 40-minute time limit. So worst case, if this meeting thing, we have to use my own personal area most times, it'll work. And that's the good news there. So,
okay.
So that's good news. So I'm not advocating this method. I'm just asking the question. When I was, like I said, working with larger files, I've seen some other people with larger files that do a lot more. These aren't the best examples I'm showing you, but when you have multiple controls over large and it's quite large, it's just that thing about having them closer together. But if that's not an issue, just chuck it all together and that's fine by me. I'm good with that.
Well, but there is another thing. You can split up the the spec files, the inspec files as well. There's no need to
have multiple controls.
Yeah. And also, while we're on the topic, the way of naming the control and the title is not actually like the right way to do it.
Good. Let's talk about it. Go for it.
So the control, the way the template this has been developed in template formula is we've got a kind of control this, and then the title should contain, but actually control should kind of be like a unique name for the control, and then the title should just be a display name.
Let's go to
control.
Let's go to the template formula for a simpler discussion. But if we took this example, let me just grab one of the ones in the template formula. So if you said the package one, right? So what would you suggest should be here instead?
Well, this is what I have come to is to name them a bit more like we name state IDs in Salt. It would be something like template package installed, and then the title would actually be the human readable description. And there is a reason for this, that you can include and exclude the controls that you use.
Yep.
In the kitchen file.
And that'll be by this ID here.
By using that ID. And so the ID template package and then should be installed or whatever. It doesn't quite fit into that idea. And I've used it in some of my personal formulas, particularly when I'm developing them from the template formula. I haven't finished all of my tests, and so I specify in kitchen.yaml specifically which controls to run and which ones not to. So
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get it up here, line by line. So we're saying here that obviously this is pulled out from here. So you would have instead here you'd have the actual ID over here. So template
and then
dash.
it would be,
and then what would this be here?
well, it would be a fuller title. It would be, you know, the Apache package should be installed or whatever, or Firefox should be installed, but in a human readable way.
So where we're trying to mock up a human readable thing across the control and title,
exactly, yeah,
it should be moved into the title, and the actual control itself should be named with a structure.
That's what I believe. Yes.
Any comments on that, guys?
Not me. I didn't. I need to read the doc to find the ultimate way to do it, but I will look at it.
Do you have a reference for that, David?
Well, I'm sure it's in spec. You know, the documentation somewhere.
Okay. If anyone comes across it, if they can put it into the formulas chat in Slack.
But what I mean, if you try and do what I have said, which is include and exclude specific controls in the kitchen, then it makes more sense.
I get it. So can't you do it with this, by the way? Just out of interest.
Well, I think you could easily have a control with the same
ID,
a kind of control ID, within the same formula.
Right.
Because here you've got, well, template package, but let's say you have a formula that installs several packages. Yeah.
I mean, this one does.
And also, while we're on this kind of, or maybe pedantic.
No, let's talk about it. It's good.
If you go back to the file names.
The file names. And so, if you read the best practices for InSpec, they actually say don't use the term spec in the file name. Okay. Because the spec file name comes from, I believe, from RSpec, which is like the unit test thingy for Ruby. And so within InSpec is kind of frowned upon.
Well, not even frowned upon, but just like it doesn't really add anything.
Right.
And so I've started using just packages.ruby.rb or services.rb.
Yep. We've got a few formulas that don't use the underscore spec. They just have.
Yeah, and it's just, it kind of is making it less, I think it's adding kind of an obscurity to the names. Is it, if you have no idea what InSpec is, or RSpec or Ruby or whatever, then you might think, oh, well, what is this spec file? Whereas really it's the file name isn't important within InSpec.
Right. I get the point. I'd like to hear what the maybe other feelings are about these sorts of issues. Anyone else?
Well, I'm just bringing them up.
Oh, yeah, I like the ideas personally, but I'd like to hear others.
Yes, personally, removing the underscore spec is fine because I see lots of examples without it in InSpec. And in lots of InSpec examples, you don't even have the control block in the control files.
That's interesting. So what do they have instead?
Oh, nothing. They are putting the describe directly in the file without the control block.
Right. So, but then you can't ignore. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going down that way myself. But I think, I can see that it's possible.
Yes, it's strange because in the Kitchen Puppet, for example, you have a describe at the top of the file, then a control with a describe in it, and another describe outside the control. So I don't see the purpose of that.
Is the first described maybe for a sort of at the level of the whole file?
I put it in the chat, for example. Yes.
Okay. Javier, I know you've got quite a bit of inspec involved.
I agree in removing the dash underscore. It's just more. It used to make sense when it was server spec. It was the way to do it, but I agree nowadays almost nobody uses it. Yeah, I keep the files in control. But I'm not that sure if that's required. I just always saw that way. Haven't checked if there's another way to do that.
Okay, and as maybe we make these changes, these little things should be moved back out at the top level again, and not do this basically across formulas. Is that right? Yeah, we're agreeing upon that.
Yeah, I just keep in the general parts outside the controls, and only add something in the controls if you need to do.
Fantastic. No, that's great. I like all of this. I'm glad to hear a lot of these points. Someone was about to say something?
No.
No.
If anyone sees anything though, or finds out in the documentation about any of these points raised, it's really helpful, because when we do make the changes in the PRs and stuff, it's really nice to have the link to the documentation there when you're going back to try to find, or even in the actual commit message. It's just so, sometimes I go back and I'm trying to work out why something's been done, and it's quite hard to trawl through the conversations and then actually look for the documentation yourself. So if anyone can, if they see anything coming along, just chuck it in the formulas chat at least, so we can have that reference. It's always easier when it's available. And we've discussed this replacement issue as well. Hopefully we can. Anything at your end with that replacement issue, Daniel? Did you manage to test it?
Yes, I managed, and as I said in the chat, using adding the driver hostname in the suite, force the hostname, and there is a nice diff with showing that it's working.
Okay, and the Grains ID basically is using that host name, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, so that's a solid. I think it seems more solid to me as a solution.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So that might solve that entire issue there. That's nothing. That's been solved. What's my question here?
Yes, it was to build the finger.
Build the finger. No, the finger's fine, because we're just looking at, where is that template Formula One we was looking at? Where was it? I didn't mean to lose that file. I wanted that file. Was it here? No, it's the other one. No, the finger's good. Is this the thing we were talking about there?
Oh yeah, you already changed it, exactly.
No, I've already changed it. That worked fine.
Okay.
That was great. So I'm happy with the finger bit. It was, what was it? Oh, this is just more so between us. What it is at the moment, the template in the SSF formula, if I can quickly pull it up. I just wanted to confirm something. This is a minor point really, but just quickly, if I can grab this. Files, where will it be? It'll be under default, and it'll be under inspec, and it's the, what file is this? Is this the README? No. Oh, that's it, yeah. So at the moment, if you can sort of try to understand this little part here. So what's happening at the moment is the suite name is constantly being used. So whatever the name of the suite is here, that's what the name appears as. And the title, at the moment, it's grabbing the name of the formula. Oh no, I've got something here already. I could have used that. Sorry, this is a bit of an abstract, it's a bit of a strange question in the sense it's not going to, I was just trying to say is when we have this shared, because we're going to be using this throughout all the formulas, and we're going to have a shared suite, which is now called share, not shared. We've made that change. I just wanted to confirm what the title is going to be, but I can actually set that. I didn't realize I'd already put a setting for that, so that can be set, and the question's invalid basically. Just looking at it now, I realize the question's completely invalid, so we don't need to worry about it. I can set it from there. Okay, so that's this done with the map ginger, and we want to start spreading that out. And like I said, it's working well in the salt formula. So what other issues have we got for today? What other issues are there? Okay, I have to close this chat for a second because this chat's getting in the way. Cancel. Any other issues that are at the moment that need to be considered?
Well, this isn't really an issue, but I know you've got a PR open, Imran, about packages formula.
Right, quickly go there.
It's been sitting for a little while.
Yes, it's the Windows testing. Right, and yeah, so the only remaining issues here were this about the, so if we just show the actual file so people can see what's happening. This part is fine. We've got no problem with, where was it? In the gem file, that's fine, and that. See,
yeah,
this,
well,
yeah.
Carry on. Well, rather than setting it to an empty string, I mean, it's not needed, that init environment line.
Yeah. Where I'm coming from at the moment, step by step, is I need to obviously make the template. So what we're talking about here, guys, is how we, from again...
Right, okay.
Yeah. So from the SSF again, we're looking at how do we provide these files. So to make Windows testing easier across formulas, we want to be able to, manage these files from the SSF. And I'm just trying to sort of standardize what the template is going to look like. And at the initial stage of it, because I don't want to have too many if blocks in the actual template, I'd rather just provide maybe an empty string there. And over time, if we need to add the blocks and stuff to make sure these sections don't come out, if I can actually show you the commit, it'll make it easier. So I need to go to my fork. So where's my fork? If I press that, no, yes, that's it. That's the link I wanted. But I didn't want to lose the last page, which is annoying. So let's do it like this and go back to here. So just so that you understand what I'm saying here. Oh gosh, now I have to find out which. Windows. Oh my word. Oh, here it is. And I go to the commits. Just so you guys can see what I am. Now, what in the world did I want to show you here? It's not even here. It's in the SSF formula. So I'll have to do it from here. Just give me 1 second. I'll make this clear, hopefully. Right, Windows testing, we're already in that branch. And if I go to... I don't have a good example at the moment. It's not a good example there. I think what it is, a lot of this is in my mind. So again, trying to manage these files from the SSF formula, I'm looking at how the template will be standardized. I don't know if that's a very clear view.
I can see what you mean, yeah.
You can see what I mean. You got the point.
Yeah.
But the other point I wanted to show you as well was about the naming of the suite. So if I go to this here, so it's under the formulas.yaml. Let me go to that file. It's only initially, I mean, if over time we really want to get rid of the block, that'll be easy to do. I just want to make it as simple as possible first, so it works across all formulas without too much thinking. And afterwards we can add whatever we need to make it cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
And as for that Windows naming thing, where's Windows gone? I had it here somewhere. Oh, here it is. There. The question was, sorry guys, I mean, Javier and I'm trying to keep it something that's easy for you, you guys to follow, because I don't want to. Over here, I've used where is it? There's a comment you made about this. I can't find the comment.
Yeah, it'll be in the kitchen.yaml, I think. Or kitchen.
Why it's not showing up, I don't know, but it'll be over here. I think it was a comment here. Yeah, it wasn't inline. That's what the comment was. So would suggest changing the platform name to just Windows for consistency. What I'm looking at is, again, from an SSF angle, is the consistency with the other platforms, where what we've got is a combination of the OS version, SALT version, Pi version, because keeping them all together, it just becomes a bit easier if I have them listed out in the same structure.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. So the reason I bring that up is because in the GitHub, can you go to kitchen.github.yaml?
Kitchen.github.yaml. Oh dear, sorry, I'm a bit slow here now. Kitchen.github.yaml, right, and we want to view this file. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, in GitHub, the platform isn't 8.1. I think that was the point I was making, or trying to make. And so,
well, what is the platform?
well, but the thing is, in the kitchen.vagrant.yaml, it is 8.1. So I'm not sure if you can have two entries and have them different, or they need to be the same. I can't quite remember. But
it says that in your SSF you have 8.1 and here you have 8.1 directly. That's what you mean?
Oh no, what it does, no, it concat, because again, all of them are defined as they are in from the Docker side of things. Usually, I mean, these ones down here, and it merges them together to make 15.2. That's not the issue. What Daniel's saying, what David's saying, is about just using Windows here instead and not using all the rest of this. And we're trying to ascertain. So you're saying in the vagrant.yaml, because I tried this on Vagrant as well, and it was fine. It's maybe I'm missing something. You're saying this doesn't work? Is that correct?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying it's not accurate.
It's not accurate. It should be.
As in, we're saying that the platform is Windows. I mean, 8.1 stands for 8.1.
Yep.
But in kitchen.github.yaml, in GitHub, we don't have control of the Windows image which is run. So I think it runs like 2019, server 2019 or something. And I mean, this is really just being pedantic, maybe, but
no, it's about clarity.
It's not accurate. So
I get it now. I get your point finally.
Yeah.
This one over here is not 8.1. This one over here is whatever GitHub gives us, which is their version. And over here in Vagrant, this is correct.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So it's correct over here, but it's not accurate over here. I've got you now finally. Right. Okay. So in terms of from the angle of SSF, I still need a way to uniquely identify each, unique platform, if you like.
Platform. Well, I mean, you could put 2019 there. That would be valid.
Except,
but I think the point is, we're running this from the workflow.
Yeah. And
it. Oh no, that's not right. The workflow only applies to the GitHub anyway. So
yeah.
Platform. No, I think they have to be the same.
What, on both sides?
Right, where are we doing the kitchen verify in this?
Okay, so what's happening
is in the workflow, yeah. yeah, in the workflow here, we're doing. Oh yeah, we're not even using a platform specifier. So actually, they could be different. Do you see where I'm doing a bundle exec there?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even supplying a platform.
Yes,
stub.
as we normally do in our normal
Yeah.
kitchen.
Because there only is one platform.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, they could be different in those two files, if that fits in with SSF formula.
Yeah. Okay, we can. I know the issue now. You've clarified it to me, so we can have a think about how we're going to do this to make it correct. Even if it's just going to be Windows, and I can just make those blank. It doesn't really matter. But I was just, for the time being, I was just looking at it compared to the other platforms there, just to make it a bit easier to work with from that angle. But either way, but there is one question I have, and this hopefully I can grab the other guys as well. Is in terms of actually. What's the word I'm looking for? The suite itself, adding the suite itself. I like the idea of keeping all the suites, whether they're Linux-based or Windows-based, all in kitchen.yaml. So everything in one place, and then only having the additional parts in kitchen vagrant.yaml. And so only having so like we've got here, having the specific parts. Best example is salt formula. I think that shows what I'm talking about. The question is there a reason to keep them separate that I'm missing? So if we go over here, the suite is actually defined here in the actual kitchen.github.yaml. Is there a problem if this is taken over and put into kitchen.yaml instead to keep everything together in one place?
You would have to well, is it exactly the same suite as is used by the other?
It can
platform?
be named. It's fine. We can have it named differently if necessary. But I'm saying is having all the suites of all the suites in one place in kitchen.yaml.
Well, I think that's what I've done, isn't it?
This one over here is in the actual kitchen.github.yaml.
Did I add this?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Oh, I wonder why I've done that. Because I think I agree with you.
Okay. So, because otherwise we're getting duplication here, which I think is unnecessary. Unless I've missed something here in these.
No, I'm not quite sure why I've done that.
Okay.
And if it doesn't need to be that way, then yeah, put it in.
Yeah, so when we do these and start using Windows testing, we can just keep all the suites together in kitchen.yaml and only supply the Windows specific stuff, this top stuff here in the.
No, I mean, I kind of agree with you.
Okay, is there any reason that I'm missing that we can't do that?
Is that block, is that suite the same in the the original kitchen.yaml?
It'll be, we'll just have to name the suite. This suite exists already in the kitchen.yaml.
But is it exactly the same?
No, it's not. No, because of this. Because that one runs the master, it runs three things. I can't remember what it runs.
Right, okay.
So it's not exactly the same, but just name it differently. So here, for example, this is the same one over here. So we can't just add Windows here because it's running the package repo.
Yeah, okay, right, I see, yeah.
But otherwise it is the same. But I just say just name it as a different suite and put it in there.
Yeah, but
in one place.
I mean, you would limit it to the platform, yeah.
Yep, of course.
You could put it in. Oh yeah, so I think I've just done a quick and dirty thing there rather than thought about it.
Okay, so so we're clear on that. We can put it into the kitchen.yaml, and we just need to work out the naming of the actual platform. Whether it's going to be Windows or whether it's going to have these additional parts or not, and that's it really for that PR.
Yeah.
Sorry to the other guys that we just went off in a direction there that maybe wasn't the clearest. It was a bit too specific for this meeting, but at least that's cleared it up, and at least we know where we are now.
It's okay. I have a question now that I see that piece of code. I saw that you merged 3001 a while ago, but I noticed yesterday that template is still pointing to 3000.
Sorry, 3001 where, sorry?
Oh, yesterday I pulled. I did a git pull on template,
Yeah.
and Kitchen was still pointing to the 3000 code. Maybe.
Sorry, in which file? In the kitchen?
Yep. But maybe now that I see that, it's perhaps it's my code.
No, there's no 3001 in there yet.
Oh, that's okay.
I didn't, like I said, get around to updating that just yet because of the whole issue across all the formulas and stuff. 3001, I'm sure I did a few, didn't I? Let's see, I'm sure I did a few. I've got them there, so I've definitely done them somewhere. That's the salt formula only. Sorry, no, I've only done the salt formula.
No.
I don't think I've done anywhere else.
Sorry, guys, I have to go now.
Yeah, well, I think we all should as well. All right, guys, it was good to catch up and finally get there. And hopefully we can catch up in a couple of weeks and get the map.ginger stuff out there as well soon.
Okay.
All right, guys.
See you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye. All right, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, I think we'll all finish, yeah?
Bye-bye.
All right,
yeah.
all right, take care. Yeah, go on.
Just, I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but this thing with the updating of the formulas to 3001, I mean, we need to get a handle on that.
Yeah, the main thing is the process is going to be, I've already got the TM builds taking place in my own fork. Once I put them into the Salt image builder repo in GitLab, then we'll be able to do the other thing which we said, which is this strategy for using that as the main platform for testing rather than all. The biggest difference across 80, 90 formulas was if most of them are using the master, as we discussed before, it'll make it very easy to do this. And then getting that release out there will be a simple thing.
Sure. Okay.
So it's the thing that's holding me up right now is just putting in a merge request for the Tiamat build in the Salt image builder. It's just that time of just doing that. It's not a hard thing. I've actually already done it. It's just a matter of tidying it up and putting it through. So that's been done, and then we can move forward with this and get the images out there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and yeah, Javier, when I do that, if you can just have a quick glance over it and make sure I've not done anything silly, that would be helpful.
Just let me know.
I'll ping you. Yeah, definitely. I'll ping you when I've done that. All right, then, guys, we'll catch up soon.
Okay. Cheers then.
No, to you as well. Thanks a lot, guys. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.